Stack the money, make it multiply. Yellow, white, go.
What's up, everybody? We back. Facts over feelings. I'm Bobby Champion.
I'm Chris Staples.
Yes, sir. And we here. Facts over feelings. We're going to get right into it. So, of course, we have the Heat versus Lakers in the finals. It's what everybody's been clamoring for. You get to see LeBron versus old team, the team he won his first championship with. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Facts over feelings. Who will win this series?
I got to go with the Lakers. I just think LeBron got, he in a different mindset right now. He got a lot to prove. He got a chip on his shoulder. He got the weight of the Lakers on his shoulders. Rest in peace to Kobe. So he's holding that. He's trying to hold that legacy down by actually going out there and winning the championship. So how good of a story would that be to see, the Lakers win a championship with a year like this year? But at the same time, I think the Lakers are the more dominant team. I think the Heat can contend with them. They're in a championship for a reason. They have beaten some tough teams this year. Yeah, they haven't lost, more than 2 games this season. So, this postseason. But, I got to go with the Lakers. That's just a fact.
Okay. All right. Well, I would have to agree. I have to take the Lakers in this series, too. They are obviously expected to win, right? The Heat are the underdog, and with that said, we saw a comparison earlier where they actually compared the Heat to the 2004 Pistons, right? And at first I looked at it and I said, no way, like nowhere, nothing like it. But when you start to think about it, I think they do have some similarities as far as that comparison from that 2004 team. And I know that's like your favorite team of all time.
All time.
Right. So what comparisons do you see when you talk about the 2004 Pistons, who were the underdog, win against the Lakers? They won. What comparisons do you see? Similarities, differences?
As far as similarities, I would say they got a lot of grit with the Miami Heat. Like they play together as a team. They're like a real team. You can tell the chemistry in the locker room is really good, and I think that's what the Pistons had. They had their own identity. I wouldn't go as far as saying they're like the Pistons of 2004 because that Pistons team went back-to-back. They didn't win back-to-back, but they went to back-to-back finals. And, just as much as I know, it was just a difference. It was a difference. And it wasn't, this is a bubble team, so we don't know how they will be in these arenas. But the Pistons had great defense as well as great offense. People weren't scoring more than 80 points in these games against them. They just had it all. Those guys also, 4 of the 5 guys, I think, made the All-Star team that year.
Yeah. Everybody except for Tayshaun made it.
Yeah.
Everybody except.
And so, you got Rip Hamilton, Ben, Chauncey Billups, like they all were on the All-Star team. So it's just a difference. But it's no knock to the Heat. It's hard to compare them to the Pistons, who took down a loaded Lakers team 4-1.
Yeah. I think it is. There are some similarities, but I think the biggest difference and the thing that really kind of upset me with seeing that comparison is like what you said, the defense. When you talk about defense, like they went 5 straight games in the NBA and held teams under 60 points for 5 straight games in the NBA. Like teams score 40 points in a quarter, 60 points in a half. They held, and this wasn't like it was weak people playing in the NBA. Like, no,
there were 11, 12 points a quarter.
Yeah. Like that's ridiculous to be able to hold a team, some professional basketball players, to that amount. Like, so when you talk about that comparison, like I see some of the similarities, and I like the fact that they are giving the Heat some respect. But it's kind of, to me, it's kind of disrespectful to the Pistons to compare them because one, they won. Like, let's wait till they win to start comparing them to.
You gotta win. We can throw out the comparisons on a victory if they win the championship.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
this is one for winning the championship.
It's a reach. Yeah, it's a huge reach. Okay, so we both on the same page as far as that. Lakers, we think that they're going to win the series. Let's talk a little bit about Jimmy Butler. I think that's somebody that doesn't get spoken about enough. He's had his ups and downs. facts over feelings, okay? Jimmy Butler is underrated.
Facts.
Facts.
Jimmy Butler, underrated. Yeah, 100%. Great defender, great two-way player. He can go off on offense, and he can take over games on defense. So I am very excited to see how he's going to play in this next series, who he's going to be guarding. I mean, I'm sure he's going to take a chunk on as guarding LeBron at times, but who he will be mainly guarding. Yeah, but I'm curious to see how he's going to play. I think he's going to have a big series, because the Heat are a team that you can't just focus on one person because the other person can go off. So I feel like the Lakers are going to have to play honest. Throwing out those double teams, I don't think will be a big factor in this series because you have people like Tyler Hero, you have Dragic who can shoot the ball, Duncan Robinson who can shoot the ball. So I don't think those double teams will be a smart move in this next series.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how they do that because the Lakers have won a few series with just double teaming the star and that working, like getting the ball out of his hands. But Jimmy Butler is a willing passer, and those buckets come from anywhere. Like you said,
Right.
As far as Jimmy Butler being underrated, I would have to say I think that's more of a feeling, right? I think factually, I don't think he's underrated. He's a max player, right? He's a coveted player. Like the Miami Heat went out to go get him and say, I want you. He's bounced around from a couple of teams that thought like, yeah, this guy can possibly get us to the championship. And last year, he was really one shot away from going to the finals. So I would say
I have to jump in on this. So you
okay.
right, like you said, you brought up a great point. Last year was this the first year on the Sixers?
Last year was his first year on the Sixers. Yeah. Because before that,
1 year on the Sixers. 1 year on the Sixers, it took a crazy bounce shot from missing the NBA Finals. His first year on the Sixers,
right.
He goes to the Heat. The Sixers get swept. The Heat go to the championship. Like
yeah, they got swept without Ben Simmons. Like that wasn't a complete.
I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying they don't go to the championship. They don't make it to that point.
All right.
It shows the difference with Jimmy Butler. Like, look, we were 1 game away from the championship. The Sixers got swept in the first round. They were 1 game away from going from the championship. He leaves the team he goes in that first year go to the finals. Let that be any other superstar. What are you saying? One year.
It's different though because I've seen superstars leave teams and they become lottery teams. They still made the playoffs. Like it's not like they didn't make the playoffs. They did do that.
They were a good team. It was a process. There was a good team going. He was just added to that
team prior to that. So I like I said, I think Jimmy Butler is underappreciated. Do I think he's underrated? His contract will say. No, he's not. He get paid
by bringing him in there because he knew he was the player that can actually get his team.
Yeah. Now underappreciated for sure. Like I don't think the people like us as the media and all. Like I don't think we appreciate him for how good he actually is because, like you said, he's led teams pretty deep and he hasn't won yet. But I said this a couple of podcasts ago. Like some of the things he is doing by carrying these teams is really LeBron-esque. Kawhi Leonard, type of attributes because it's not really a lot of players that can just bounce from team to team and have success, go to the playoffs, go to the championship and stuff like that. So
you're bringing up great points, and that's why I could say you just said these are like LeBron-esque, Kawhi Leonard type of things, but it's never talked about.
It's not underappreciated. Underrated though, nah, he get that bank. He get that his rating. His rating is right.
There's people in the NBA. I mean, Mike Conley make a lot of money. He make a lot of money, but we're not talking about how his rating is right now. So just the rating don't mean about how much he's getting paid. I mean, it's been people in the NBA that have been stealing money, but we're not gonna get into that. It's true. So
you say that it's a fact. I can go down to Chandler Parsons. Like most people don't even know who that guy is, but he got bank and disappeared.
Gilbert Arenas? Come on.
But he was a murderer. Like he was going crazy.
He was, but guess what? He was been 3 years out the league like this. Don't worry. I'm still one of the highest paid players in the NBA, and I don't even play in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, the NBA, man, and even Carmelo, I feel like Carmelo almost, to me, I think Carmelo was blackballed because of that. I feel like the league felt like this dude is getting way too much money to not be giving us what we need him to do. But he still got the capabilities. I just think he was blackballed, so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we digress. Today's episode, since we had the finals today, you know what I mean? We just gonna be getting right to it, and then we're gonna be following up after these games, trying to stay consistent for y'all people out there. So in this series, let's move back to that. Who is the biggest X factor in this series? The biggest X factor.
I mean, for which team? Because they're gonna be X factors.
I thought about this before when I formulated the question. We can go each team, but I'm just the biggest X factor. Like if this player performs well, it doesn't matter. This team is going to be a problem. This team is 9 times out of 10 going. X factor. You can't be and all them.
Bam out of
Bam.
Bam. He's the biggest X factor.
Not X factor though. That's the all-star. Like Bam, Jimmy.
Because these are all-stars, but he's going to make a big difference in this series because let's just say Bam plays to the level where we see Bam play at. You're going to think he's going to get canceled out. But if Bam has these big games, surrounded by shooters who are going to have fairly solid games, I don't see anyone just having a completely off game where you have 4 guards that can shoot the ball and you have Bam. I think that's going to make a big difference. The inside presence of rebounding, those second chance points, those make a big difference. And you don't want to give the Heat, a 3-point shooting team, too many second chance points. So I feel like with Bam being aggressive in there, maybe possibly slowing Anthony Davis down. Like if he can slow Anthony Davis down just a little bit, and you know how I always have this conversation with you as far as Anthony Davis needs to have these big games in order for the Lakers to win. If he can get slowed down by Bam Adebayo, that makes a big difference and the Heat will have a better chance. So I personally don't think that he will ultimately slow down Anthony Davis, and that's why the Lakers will win. But if he does, the Heat will have a better chance. So I think he's the biggest X factor in the series.
Okay. To me, my biggest X factor in the series. I can't go with Bam because I feel like he's an all-star. He's expected to be a factor. My biggest X factor would have to be playoff Rondo. If playoff Rondo is playing how he was in last series, right, they might sweep the Heat. And this is why, right? Because after Dragic, they really don't have a dependable point guard, right? Like Jimmy Butler runs a lot of the one. He does a lot of the ball handling. And for me, watching, all right, just me watching the game, I like Jimmy Butler. We just talked about. When we talk about ball handling ability, like I saw him get the ball taken from him a few times in positions where it's like because you're not a point guard, your ball handling skills aren't quite the same, right? Where the guards who was checking him, and Rondo, if he's checking him, he's playing around, he's going to be taking that ball. And if he's hitting threes, throwing oops, him and Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, their chemistry is popping with Rondo. I see a sweep coming.
I can agree with you on that because I think Rondo makes such a big impact on the game, even if it doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah. But what's going on the stat sheet? 7.4 assists last series. So that just opened up LeBron's.
You'll look. If you watch the game, you say, all right, LeBron had 35, 10, and 10. Anthony Davis had 27, 12, and 5. Rondo had 7 and 7. But those 7 and 7, you don't understand. You might not understand. These 7 big plays, like 7 nice assists, probably off a steal.
Yep.
Momentum swing type plays. So that's why I say it might not show up on the stat sheet when you're looking at it like, well, 7 assists, that's cool, I guess. LeBron had 10 assists, but we didn't notice what Rondo was actually doing. So I have to agree with you that Rondo does make a big difference in this series. And I like the fact that Rondo and Anthony Davis played together last year. So they already have that chemistry, of playing and being in the playoff mode. I think that just works out best. And when LeBron doesn't have the ball in his hand, Rondo has those options, and it's okay. It's cool for LeBron to go post up when he needs to, but actually be able to defer and let Rondo have the point guard because he makes great decisions as well.
Great. And it's honestly, as far as like players that LeBron actually trusts with the ball, is you don't really see him like, oh, I'm going to go. Yeah, he goes out the way. I'm going to give Rondo the ball. I know he's going to get me in the right spot And that level of respect to me is just like, that really shows LeBron is like, yo, I know that you can really help us, and you're a crucial part into getting us to this promised land, you know? So let's talk a little bit about, because we kind of breezed over, you know, the Heat and the Celtics series. So let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, the Heat won, and it's two topics actually we can cover with this. First, let's visit the Celtics team, and let's talk about why do you think that they lost that series? Give me some facts over why they lost that series.
Well, I believe the Celtics lost that series because they, I feel like they took some immature shots. Like, like they're great athletes. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, great athletes, can make a lot of great shots. But I felt like in those tough moments, they settled. And it made the difference in going to overtime or finishing the game versus like taking to the hole and trying to get that and one versus taking a fadeaway three-pointer. And
Right.
I feel like they did a lot of that throughout the series, and it kind of backfired on them near the end of the game where those points really mattered. And it came down to it. And I think just settling on shots that they probably could have made better decisions on. They were two very evenly matched teams. I can't take anything away from the Celtics and how well they played. They have the ability to beat the Heat. It just came down to making the better decisions at the end of the day. And I think the Heat, when they got into their zone, the Celtics wasn't ready for that. They really could not master how to break the zone. That zone won't work next series because you have a player like LeBron who can have his back to the basket and see the whole floor. And the Celtics didn't have that. And I feel like that made the biggest difference in this series. But either team could have won. So, it just came down to coaching and how they adjusted.
The last part that you said about the big man, right? That's where I really think the Celtics are missing out. Like, I truly think that's why they lost the series. Like, yeah, they have some more work to do as far as IQ and taking the right shots and making the right plays. But I think from a star power standpoint, they are way too perimeter oriented, right? And it actually had me thinking about the NBA in general, right? And the new way of the NBA, and they're like, oh, small ball is the way, and the big man is not relevant anymore. It's all about that. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I saw that being a huge issue with the Celtics because they had Thias, and then they had brought in Robert Williams, like not really bringing in significant big men that actually stood a chance against Bam. That's a versatile big man. Like I was impressed. I knew Bam was good, but the fourth quarter of the second half of that last game, bro, he straight up said, I'm the one. He's looking bringing up the ball. Like, oh, if I'm not making a pass, I'm frying this person that's in front of me because you are big. You just flat out can't check me. So, like, the Celtics, I think that is their biggest issue. Like, it's way too much, and like you said, it was the IQ for the shots that came because you have three players on the perimeter that all, honestly, Jaylen Brown, Walker, and Tatum, they need 20 shots each. When you look at like championship rosters, right, besides the Celtics, right, even then the Celtics, they still, one of those players that needed those 20 shots, which was KG, where his was coming from, 20. I mean, it was coming from the paint, right? So I think that
believe
to work.
And I believe that losing Al Horford was a big factor because it's great. He's great pick and roll. He can shoot the 3-point. He can shoot the mid range. He can make the slam dunk. Yep. Not saying you'll bring a person like Al Horford back, but having a person, a solid stretch forward. Yeah, Tice, he can get to the basket. He can make dunks, but he wouldn't be considered a stretch for a person you can really depend on to make those mid-range shots or who can actually play that pick and roll in that fashion. So, the big man, I have to agree with that.
Yeah, he's literally that guy that when you're playing, you're like, all right, everybody else, let's just let him shoot. If he gets the ball, please shoot. He's that guy, and at times he did shoot, and like you said, from an IQ standpoint, I watched him take some shots that was like, I just got to take this just so I could get the respect of the defense, right? But it's really not the best or even a makeable shot for him,
I wouldn't mind seeing Serge Ibaka be on the.
Serge would be a great fit. Serge would be great. He would be a good fit, very good. And so that had me thinking on the big man being obsolete in the NBA. Facts over feelings. The big man in the NBA has become a dinosaur.
Facts. I hate to say that. I hate to say that. I feel like the last real big man we've seen in the NBA, DeMarcus Cousins and Zach Randolph.
Mm.
The big man bully ball, those two. And DeMarcus Cousins is now has been injured for the last couple of years. He seems more slow. Zach Randolph not even in the NBA, and everyone else wants to shoot the ball. Everyone else wants to be a point guard. You know, you look at someone like Marc Gasol, he's really a big man, but he's so finesse and he can shoot the three, but he's not a bully. And we don't have any of those bullies in the NBA anymore. Giannis, he is a kind of sort of bully, but he's also wants to put the ball on the floor versus having that mean Shaq mentality type of center. And I feel like right now at this stage, they're extinct or becoming extinct. What about you?
I think that it depends on how you look at it, right? I think that in the way exactly how you said it, the traditional big man of like post up, back to the basket, dominate strictly from the paint area, I think that big man is, for the most part, that is a dinosaur. Like, they're obsolete in the NBA. But Bam, Anthony Davis, like, they're showing me big men aren't obsolete in the NBA.
If
You're not versatile, then you will be obsolete. If you can't check people on the wing, if you can't stretch the floor by shooting mid-range jumpers, hitting some threes every now, you don't have to be an excellent three-point shooter. Just to be at least a threat from that, be able to put the ball on the floor a little bit, go coast to coast. Like, these are almost the minimum requirements for a big man, right? Or otherwise, you're going to Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, you're going to play 12, 15, maybe 20 minutes a game. But otherwise,
they're dominant. They aren't, we used to always criticize Dwight Howard because it's like, man, you don't have any moves. You don't have any post moves to catch alley-oops. And you look at someone like JaVale McGee, you're like, he's not a bully. He has hops, he can jump. DeAndre Jordan, another person. We just don't even see that anymore. I look at a person like Joel Embiid. You're like, Joel Embiid, you're the biggest man on the floor for sure. And at times he can be a bully, but he often relies and goes back to the easier settle for a three-point shot or a fadeaway shot. We just didn't see that, growing up. Shaq may shoot a little hook shot, but he wasn't anywhere more than 5 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
And so, I just feel like we don't see that too more. And the NBA is, the versatility is spreading to where everyone wants to put the ball on the floor. Everyone wants to be able to shoot the three-point shot. And it's great to have that intangible, but at the same time, knowing your role on the team and actually being able to just put somebody in the hole. So
yeah, and I agree. Like, I love the fact that now, like, even me as a trainer and coach, it doesn't matter their size. Like, you want to teach them all the skills, right? You want to teach them to put the ball on the floor and shoot and all of those things. But at the same time, I do miss just somebody just loving domination to say, I don't even care about a three. And that's one thing I actually like about Ben Simmons. I hate the fact that they try to force him to shoot threes when it's like he's so good already at what he does. Maybe he needs to shoot 1 to 2 threes a game, but he doesn't need to start shooting 5 threes a game. That's only going to hurt him. Like, where are players that's like, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to dominate at this. Like, I look at a player like D Wade, like, he's another example. He never really shot a lot of threes until really towards the last part of his career, right? But he was one of the top shooting guards, right? I think you got him ranked number 2, right? Right after Jordan's number 3, right? So it's like, and he wasn't
Wade, they were together.
Yeah,
Jordan, Kobe, Wade.
Yeah, I mean, even Kobe, like, he's like, I can shoot the three. If I get hot, I will, but I will light you up from this mid-range and dunk on you all day until you figure it out,
Yeah.
So, but all right, man, well, we've been talking about some of the greats, right? We already brought up Kobe. So let's go ahead and move into it, man. This is our last topic for today, right? If LeBron wins this finals, right, and he wins finals MVP, right, because I already know we both agree Anthony Davis could win it, right? He could win the MVP of the finals. But let's say LeBron does.
He won't.
How much will that close the gap between him and Jordan? Like, will that move him into he's the GOAT now? Does this make him surpass Jordan as the GOAT?
You're definitely gonna have people that say LeBron's the GOAT. I'm not going that far. I'm just not going that far. We're talking about, if we break it down to what Jordan done and what LeBron done, yeah, you can give me the stats, but I'm looking at what Jordan has accomplished. I don't care that we take the 6 and 6. That's tough. And right now we're talking about LeBron 4 in the year 17. He's at 4. Now he's been to the finals a lot, but he's only going for 4 right now. So I don't even understand the whole GOAT conversation when it comes to that. But I think it does close the gap, and it's going to be up for debate because it doesn't have to be even. Because you do have guys that are great players that maybe haven't even won a ring that you will still rank above another player. I would put Charles Barkley above a lot of power forwards in the league or power forwards that have won championships. I would put Karl Malone above most power forwards, and he's never won a championship. So it's not always about the ring, but I look at what LeBron has accomplished, and I also look at what Jordan, the level he put everybody at. He raised the bar to a level where you're like, man, as great as LeBron is playing, we're still having this debate on is he better than Jordan? And the fact that we still have to have this debate shows you how much of an impact Jordan made on the game. So I would say it does close the gap, but it doesn't seal the deal.
Okay. All right. I've been thinking about this a lot, right? If LeBron wins this third finals MVP, in my book, like, I would have to move him past Jordan, right, as the greatest. And these are the reasons why. Because I think a lot of people think that Michael Jordan doesn't have blemishes on his career or like he never lost in the playoffs, right? Because you gave out a great number. You gave out a fact. Michael Jordan went to the finals 6 times and he was 6 for 6. Okay? Let me add some facts to that, all right? Michael Jordan played 15 total seasons. Of his total 15 seasons, 13 of those he went to the playoffs. Meaning, out of those 13, right? 6 of those times he won the championship. 7 of those times he didn't even make it to the championship. He lost, right? So 7 out of 13 times he lost in the playoffs. Everybody tries to hold it against LeBron because he lost in the finals. He made it there, right? This guy didn't even make it to the finals. Then we talk about even prior to winning the championship. First year, lost to the Bucks in the playoffs. First round, out. Second year, lost to the Celtics, sweep, out. Third year, lost to the Celtics, sweep, out. Pistons, out. Pistons, out. Pistons, out. It's like, bro, this dude was getting bounced in the playoffs. And this was with Scottie Pippen too. Not all of the years, but for the most part, most of those years were with Scottie, right? So those are just some quick stats. Now let's talk about him without Scottie Pippen, bro. Some of the things that LeBron has done without players after he's left, right? You can't name another player that's had as much success after Jordan has left, and you compare it to LeBron. After LeBron left Kyrie, bro, this dude has been to the playoffs 1 time. They lost. His stats weren't great. And now he's back on another team because they're like, this isn't getting it done. After Scottie Pippen left the Bulls, he went to the playoffs like 5 straight times. Right? He averaged 18, 20 points in the playoffs. Like, this dude was doing this thing without Jordan. And even the year after they won the 3, when Jordan left, he was in the MVP conversation for like MVP of the league. So when you talk about like him winning those 6 rings, like and he is my GOAT right now. I have him there. But I just hate the fact that people don't include the fact that this dude had a top 50 player all time on his team. Top 50 all time on his team. Besides D-Wade, you're not going to pick the name.
Are you done? Are you done? Come on, let me know if you're done. Because you know what? Because I'm about to unleash on you, bro.
Go ahead. Right. Go ahead.
Right. What team LeBron has left, this and that. Oh, cut that out. Jordan didn't even leave. Jordan stayed around with the boys. Yeah, he came back.
He never proved he could carry another team without him. He had a Hall of Fame coach. He had a Hall of Fame player. And the team that he was losing to, right, the Detroit Pistons, guess who he went and got? Yes. Oh, I'm going to go get the back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was so good, bro, they let him take a break to Vegas during the season. This dude's team was stacked, bro. Just like
how many teams have LeBron been on?
3. And every team that he's left, after he's left, you know what they
Because he
did?
went back, because he did go back. So we would say 4 because that won't be the same team.
Okay.
It wouldn't be the same team.
Okay.
Even though it was Cleveland, he went back. He didn't go back to the same exact Gauskis and Delonte West. They weren't there.
Okay.
So, right. So we would say 4 teams. Look, yeah, guess and LeBron, where did he go? When LeBron left Cleveland, who did he go play with? Because Dwayne Wade, is he a top 50 player of all time? Did Dwayne Wade already have an MVP?
Sure.
Did Dwayne Wade already have a championship? Right. Okay. So he goes and plays with that guy. So even though Jordan may recruit it,
but once he did that,
he recruited a piece of the Pistons. He didn't recruit the MVP of the Pistons. He recruited the defensive player. Hey, we need a defender. Great. We got a defender, a crazy Dennis Rodman. LeBron said, I'm going to play with D Wade, it was D Wade and Kobe at the time in the league. Like, look, it was LeBron, D Wade, and Kobe, who were the best player in the league. And LeBron went over to play with Dwayne Wade, who had just come off an MVP, Finals MVP type of season. Or when he already had won Finals MVP and already had an NBA championship, to go play with him. Then what does he do? He goes, grabs Jesus Shuttleworth, a person who had just won a championship.
I love how you said he went to go grab him. Like, he actually did it. Because I'm going to make a point about this, because you said he went to do it.
Okay. They recruited. The Heat recruited Jesus Shuttlesworth, right? Who had just won a championship with the Boston Celtics. So he wins it. So he goes recruits another champion. Who else? Now we have Chris Bosh. We're not gonna say Chris Bosh is a top 50 player. Is Ray Allen a top 50 player? Possibly. I'm not sure. I don't want to bring that. That might be a feeling. He might not.
Ray Allen. That's a feeling.
Might be.
He would. If I had to pick 50 players,
top 10 shooter?
I like him. Is
he a top 10 shooter?
A top 10 shooter? Oh yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, might be a top 5.
Probably.
Oh, great. Okay. He goes back. He wins the championships as he should. Then goes back to Cleveland. He has Kyrie Irving, who's already there. He brings in Kevin Love. He even brought in at one point, he brought in Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, Isaac. He's bringing in players. Like, you never seen a team like this, even though that didn't work. And we're not going to knock any of these players because you know who these players are. We're not going to knock any of these players. But those players have all went and played with LeBron. Now he's with the Lakers. And who does he bring in with the Lakers? Now, you said Michael Jordan went and got top defender on his team. LeBron brings in Anthony Davis. Is he a top defender? Was he an MVP?
Anthony Davis never won Defensive Player of the Year back-to-back.
Is Anthony Davis a top defender? Yes. He might not have been back-to-back MVP, top 10 or top NBA defender in the league, but he's a top defender. He will be a top 50 player. Anthony Davis will be, and he's been in the MVP category conversation. So LeBron has played with players. Now, Jordan has had people come to the Bulls, but Jordan never really left the Bulls. So to say, well, Jordan never won without Pippen, he didn't have to. We stayed the same years. Like, Pippen came and played with me.
All right. And so now I'm going to make, here we go. I'm just going to make these points for you real quick, okay? Every single team that LeBron left, after he left them, they literally were a lottery pick, okay? After Jordan left, after they won 3 finals, right? They went back to the playoffs that year. And as a matter of fact, without Jordan, they still went and had, like you said, Scottie Pippen was in the MVP conversation. Jordan came back the next year and they went the same distance. It's not even like they went further, right? So, and I just want to give that to a testament as to how good their team was. You cannot name a team, right? After LeBron left the Heat was done. After he left the Cavs, they lottery pick. After, if he leaves the Lakers, right, they, once again, even with Anthony Davis, they're not going to be a top number 1 seed in the West, maybe even number 4. Like, come on, Anthony Davis been to the playoffs how many times in his life without LeBron? Like, to me, that's where I have to separate it, because I think, right, like I said, I think Michael Jordan right now is the greatest player of all time. But if I'm talking about a player that's shown that he can carry different people and different teams, I would have to pick LeBron James, and maybe even you got the Mamba shirt on, maybe even Kobe, because Kobe went out of his way to say, "Y'all not gonna say I can only win a championship with Shaq."
I mean, that's why
He
Kobe
went out
left.
of the way to do that. He said, "You're not gonna say that about me. You are not going, and you can't use that against him." And that's why I love the fact early, before we started, you talked about like, "Hey, what up with Mamba?" Because even him, he's proved that he can do that, right? Jordan never showed me, and it's not to say he couldn't. I don't know. I just don't know. He never showed me that, if I didn't have Scotty and I went to another team and I didn't have Phil Jackson as my coach.
It shows you a difference. Michael Jordan retired for that, 16 months or whatever, right? He retired for that time. They won 3, retired. Yes, they went to the playoffs, but did they win? No, they didn't win the championship. I come back, we win 3 more.
No, when you came back, they lost. No, when he first came back, they lost again too. And then they won 3.
Then they won 3. 3 more, not like 1 more. Like, no, 3 more. Like, bro, that wasn't a fluke. I want you to know these 3 peats, I'm letting you know, these 3 peats wasn't a fluke. This is what he was doing.
I'm not saying it's a fluke. I just want you to give a testament to how great his team already was, bro, without him even being.
It wasn't good enough to win 3 in a row. Not once.
They was good enough to still make the playoffs. They was good enough not to be a lottery team. His wingman was good. Listen, his wingman and his Robin, which was Scottie Pippen, was good enough to, after Jordan left, he was still going to the playoffs. And then people talk about LeBron.
The thing that changed, well, Kyrie goes to the playoffs. Kyrie went to the playoffs.
Kyrie went to the playoffs one time. And Kyrie has had nowhere near as much success as Scottie Pippen had after Jordan right now. Like, he just hasn't. He just hasn't even had the opportunity.
So you say after Jordan left, Scottie Pippen went to the playoffs. So what? So before LeBron came, what was Wade doing?
Huh? No, you did before. I'm talking about after. I'm talking about after.
That's still.
And I'm talking about after the 6 feet, after Scottie Pippen left the Bulls, he was still successful. He was still cool. Right? D-Wade was not. After LeBron left D-Wade, bro, he's out the league now. He's done.
Oh, but Dwayne Wade, is he not older than LeBron?
They came in at the same time. I don't care. LeBron younger than Jordan when he came in. So that'd be like if I started saying you can't hold the stuff against LeBron because he was younger than Jordan. Because Jordan didn't.
You saying after LeBron left, Dwayne Wade was doing just fine before LeBron got there.
No, that's not true. Before he got there, they was in shambles. D-Wade was having a lot of injury issues. Like, they were in shambles before LeBron and Chris Bosh.
He was doing just fine. Guess what? He had 1 more championship and one more Finals MVP than LeBron
had
at the time. Hey, LeBron went there for a reason.
Yeah, he did, and he went there for a reason. And this is the other thing I want people to remember about Michael Jordan, right? Because we're talking about putting teams together and doing all of this, you realize, right? And this is the funniest. If I'm gonna put Jordan on the GOAT pedestal, which already he is on that GOAT pedestal for me, like I said, I'm gonna give him GOAT status for this. This dude was the GM of the team and stepped down out the office and said, I'm about to start playing. Bro, that's the ultimate GOAT. So, like, for now, like, some of the stuff is just on the court. Like, we just talking about on the court, but overall, right? I'm still gonna have to give it to Jordan. But I just hate how like that gap is so huge because it's not. And if
I always say the gap will be closed. But, at the end of the day, if 2 pair of shoes came out, one was Jordan's and one was LeBron's. I mean, Bobby, I need to know what shoe are you gonna grab?
You already know I'm getting Jordan's. You already know that. You already know. But the PS7 LeBrons, which actually remind me of the 11s, which is why I love them so much. That
I was about to say that. They remind me of the 11s.
You already know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, man. Like, I remember getting those, like, them shoes came out so long ago. I remember getting like, bro, these look just like the 11s, but they were souped up. Now he came back out with them again with the Lakers, man. To me, that's him and that first pair of shoes he ever came out with, and this pair is like probably the sweetest one.
Yeah, those dope. They dope. But come on, man. So
Jordan's an icon. I'm not gonna take that from him.
I just don't. I like I said, like Shaq said, and Shaq has played with both players. He said, I just don't understand how we keep passing on Kobe. Like, how y'all just putting LeBron in and Jordan. It's like, Kobe.
The only reason Kobe get past is the same thing I'm holding against Jordan. Bro, the fact of the matter is 3 of his 5 championships he won with the most dominant player in
And guess what?
NBA
Guess
history.
what? And guess what? When it came to make the decision, they said, Shaq, you got to go.
Yeah. And then what did Shaq do? Shaq left and won the championship.
And played with somebody who looked just like Kobe Bryant. He played with Kobe Bryant.
He literally did. He played with a baby Kobe.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. But still, it was the fact that he had Shaq too.
Kobe do? But what did Kobe do? You're like, okay, I'm winning with now. Because guess what? We always give Paul Gasol his credit. Oh, he had Paul Gasol. Who is Paul Gasol compared to? Come on. Now,
Paul was good though. Yeah, and I would say he's probably overrated. He's probably a little overrated compared to some of the other superstars.
He really have any team, anybody that left Kobe Bryant outside of Shaquille O'Neal wasn't successful. Paul Gasol, what did he do?
He was old. I mean, by that they both got old together.
He was old.
They both got old together.
Paul Gasol still plays with. Well, I think last year he was playing with the Bucks. Andrew Bynum, what's he doing?
Oh my God, bro, that dude is barely an NBA player. Like, let's not even use him as an example.
But guess what? Kobe went to 3 finals with these guys. Lamar Odom, good at the time, but what happened after he left?
All these guys was old.
So after they left the team, they just
it was good.
I'm just saying.
That's like talking about like what Gary Payton did with Kobe.
What did Kobe do with this group?
Like he was retired. Huh?
What did he do with the group? With this group, what did he do? He went to 3 finals and won 2 of them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So like, and then guess what? Y'all said, yo, he won with Shaq. Okay, Shaq, get out of here. And okay, Shaq, get out of here. And then he goes to 3 more without Shaq. Like, just imagine. Kobe was on, he was on a different level. Like, yeah, y'all keep giving Shaq all this credit, but let me get him out of here and go to 3 more finals.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hold nothing against my man Kobe. I think that he's actually underappreciated, you know, in some of the things that you said. All right, like he definitely proved that he could do it without Shaq. And in all actuality, when you talk about competition, because I hear Stephen A. talk about this for Jordan, like, oh, the people he played against and blah, 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 blah. Kobe was in the West his whole career, right?
Whole career.
And when you talk about even the ones he went to with Powell, he was playing the Celtics, which that was 3 Hall of Famers. Like, he was playing KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And that was like, at the time, when you talk about how good that team was, which that team, they formed that team to basically beat LeBron, but whatever, they did that, right? And LeBron had to be like, bro, y'all cheated. Y'all, that was the original. Like, people forget. Like, LeBron left because he was like, yo, y'all got Ray Allen, KG, and Paul Pierce. I got Eric Snow. I'm out. I'm dipping.
Then LeBron beats that team and then loses to the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, that was coaching, bro. Like, that was all Mike Brown's coaching in that series, bro. Come on, dog. He had Delonte West trying to check Rashard Lewis.
Oh yeah. Isn't that the guy that LeBron stole from them? Because Rashad was lighting up LeBron during that series. We won't digress because Rashad was lighting up LeBron that series. And that's why they went to the championship. And that's why LeBron went and grabbed Rashad Lewis and never even played him. Y'all, you go just sit on the bench.
He did some threes. Rashad was flashing threes.
A little bit here and there.
LeBron stayed with the shooters. He had Mike Miller running around hitting threes with no shoot on.
That was a loaded team. But, you know, that's what it is. But I think at the end of the day, I think it does close the gap. Does not put over the top for me. I know it probably will for a lot of people. But one thing in the NBA that you always notice from the peers of the NBA players, like, you do have to take the players into account, their opinion into account, because they actually play the game. We can have our own opinion, but we're not playing top level like these players. So their opinion holds more weight, and overall, you would have more people in the NBA that would say Jordan is the GOAT.
You see,
I would love for you to show me a list.
We gonna have to, you know, we
have LeBron, people on LeBron's team, LeBron's teammates. Yeah, of course he's the GOAT.
It's time, people. We got to start bringing some special guests on the show now. I think it's time. We got to start bringing some former NBA players on the show or some current NBA players, because we got to have this conversation. Because I'm not gonna quote nobody or say anything, but I was with the homie yesterday. And he literally was saying, he's like, I'm just going to say it. LeBron the GOAT. I'm just going to say it. But we already been on this topic for super long, y'all. Like, we hope we provided y'all with a great show. We're gonna have some special guests for y'all. We're gonna continue this conversation some more. It's the NBA Finals edition. Bobbie champion, facts over feelings. Chris, what you got?
Chris Staples, make sure you guys like, comment, bring on some more topics. We always gonna bring you our facts. Sometimes I get in my feelings. Sometimes Bobbie gets his feelings too with some of these topics. It happens. But at the end of the day, make sure you bring the facts and don't bring these feelings to this fact fight. Chris Staples, we appreciate you guys for watching. More coming soon. Make sure you always hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for watching.
Yes, sir. And we out.
Yeah.
Stack the money, make it multiply. Yellow, white, gold, can't decide. Came to conquer, we don't divide. I'm a king, do it for the pride.